Without a doubt, 2023 was one of the best years of gaming ever. 2024 is already shaping up to be an amazing year as well. From games like Palworld to Helldivers 2, and games like Nightingale just around the corner, fellas, we have a ton of heavy hitters heading our way. Today, guys, we're going to be going over my most anticipated games for 2024. And keep in mind, we've already done reviews for Palworld and Helldivers 2, so those two games are not going to be on this list. And also Nightingale, we're already in the process of reviewing that game, so that one is also not going to be on this list. With that being said, though, let's talk about game number one that I am most excited for, Dragon's Dogma 2. Guys, have you seen this trailer? Granted, I know it's a trailer, but keep in mind, there are so many things that are aligning perfectly for an amazing game. This is an action RPG developed and published by Capcom. And get this, it's slated to release March the 22nd. Dude, literally right around the corner, this game will be dropping. Now, it's being developed in RE Engine, an engine I know many of my Capcom fans already know about. But other popular releases that have the same engine include things like Monster Hunter, as well as Resident Evil. Now, Dragon's Dogma 2 follows on the heels of its predecessor, Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, which released back in January of 2016. Now, the Steam reviews for that game are very positive, to no surprise, but everything I've seen with Dragon's Dogma 2 looks amazing. So far, the game boasts a massive open world system that seems to be teeming with life and new enemies around every corner. Now, we've had a few games over the last year that have come with open world systems, but as you know, it can feel very empty and barren. Now, I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be that way, or at least I hope it's not going to be that way, as it's imperative to create not only an open world experience, but an engaging open world experience. Now, Capcom also showcased heavy character customization, skill trees, and what looks to be an insane quest line and a wide range of monsters and bosses to pit yourself against along the way. Now, on top of this, you're able to customize your combat style to the way you like by choosing a vocation at the start of the game, which basically is just your class. So far, the different classes are Fighter, Archer, Thief, Mage, Warrior, Sorcerer, Magic Archer, Mystic, Spearhand, Trickster, and Warfare. Talk about variety. Now, each of these vocations naturally have their own set of unique skills, as well as weapons, traits, all that good stuff, and they're all completely unique to that class. My hope is that this adds to the replayability of the game, allowing us to take the world of Dragon's Dogma with different vocations to see which best suits our playstyle. Now, game director Hideko Senua explicitly stated during the game's most recent presentation that the sequel will be a single-player game, but it will feel like a co-op due to the game's pawn system. If you're not sure what the pawn system is, it essentially allows you to have an NPC companion that follows you around the whole game that you can spec out. Now, something I do want to mention is that this game will be $70. This is Capcom's first ever $70 game. Now, this seems to be becoming a new trend, right? These $70 games. My only thing with $70 games is, dude, it better be bringing the content. If you're gonna charge $70 for it, it better be the best $70 I ever spent. But so far, everything we've seen about it does look to be pretty solid. Next up on this list is a personal one for me, Arc Raiders. And the reason why I'm putting Arc Raiders here is because I have been waiting for this game for so long. Literally since its initial announcement back at the Game Awards in 2021. And this game is being developed by Embark Studios and the same folks who created the finals. That's right, guys. Those developers that are also ex-DICE developers. Say what you want about the finals, but one of the best thing about that game is the destructible environments. Now, Arc Raiders was supposed to be Embark's first game. However, in August of 2022, it was announced that the game would be delayed to 2023. However, in that same month, the studio also announced they were working on a separate title, that being the finals. Now, Arc Raiders is a strange one because originally it was pitched to us as a third-person PvE co-op game. Considering how many of us played Destiny or Warframe or even Helldivers 2, that sounds pretty good. However, last year, Embark announced that they were shifting gears and they were turning the game into a PvPvE extraction shooter, which had many of us asking why? Trust me, guys, I have very mixed opinions about this as well. And the only reason why I'm giving Embark an out here is because the PvP inside of finals is actually really good. Maybe, just maybe, they can nail it here with Arc Raiders. Now, furthermore, Arc Raiders is being developed in Unreal Engine 5. Considering how beautiful the finals is, I expect Arc Raiders to also be a beautiful game. Now, there have been a few alpha playtests over the last year, but Embark has not officially announced anything regarding beta testing or even released a date. But it's being speculated right now that Arc Raiders will release around 2024 during the Summer Games Fest, that being June the 8th. Considering they also dropped the finals during the Game Awards show in 2023, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, Arc Raiders is slated to be free to play, and I'm sure it's going to have a battle pass system of some sort. It's going to be a live game, and at its core, unless they change something last minute, it is going to be an extraction shooter. I'm extremely excited about this game, but probably for all the wrong reasons. I know it's going to be controversial. I'm here for it. I'm ready to see what exactly this game is going to shake out being, and whether or not Embark is going to really be able to nail this. Now, next we we have a personal one for me. Black Myth Wukong. This game is being developed inside of Unreal Engine 5 by Chinese studio Game Science, and it's scheduled to launch on August the 20th. Now, they are an indie game developer and do not have any other projects on the roster that are remotely on par with the scale of this game. That being said, though, this one personally intrigued me. They dropped a 30-minute gameplay trailer back in 2020, and everything from the visuals, the fluid combat system, the Souls-like vibe of the game, the fact that you're the Monkey King, dude, I'm sold. And no, it's not because I was born in the year of the monkey. Now, story-wise, this is based on a book called Journey to the West and revolves around Sun Wukong, a mythic figure in Chinese folklore. Now, outside of this, very little is known about the game. Game Science actually held a large-scale hands-on event where players got to come and actually try out Black Myth Wukong for the first time. And from this preview is where we got to see the first 3 bosses: Centipede Gao, Macaque Chief, and Tiger Vanguard. Furthermore, we got a better look at how the combat system actually works. In this preview, our character's weapon is able to change its attack range based on the attack rhythm. Light attacks on enemies will build up these focus points, and then you unleash a heavy attack that will consume those points. Now, when you combine both these light and heavy attacks together, you're able to create those combos. And initiating a heavy attack right before you're about to be hit while in the middle of a combo will deal even greater damage to enemies in an invincible status. And there'll be a variety of different spells you can utilize: freezing, ring of fire, all that good stuff, that can then be combined with your physical attacks to give you an edge in combat, with, of course, skill trees. And the best part of all of this is game is supposed to be available on all platforms. Still don't know the price yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Next on our list, we have Chrono Odyssey. Listen, I know I'm putting my heart out there just to get broken again by another MMORPG. Being developed by Pixel in partnership with Gameplex, and is slated to release in early 2024 for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. Now, Pixel is relatively new to the game dev scene. They were founded just back in 2017 and currently don't have any games to their name other than 2 mobile titles. So there's not much to really go off of here in terms of reputation. On top of that, there really isn't much public information about Chrono Odyssey, which is wild considering it's supposed to be releasing this year. Now, some things we do know: the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5. The game's website boasts, quote, a vast and seamless open world experience for players to explore. We also know that this is going to be an MMORPG, and so far, it's been confirmed there will be 6 different classes for you to choose from: the Swordsman, which uses a sword and shield, as well as a great sword; a Paladin, who uses a mace and tower shield, as well as a spear; a Sorcerer, who uses a staff and spellbook; a Berserker, who can dual wield axes, as well as a great axe; and an Assassin, who uses dual daggers, as well as a rifle; and then finally, a Ranger, who uses a bow and a rapier. Now, on top of all this, we did get to see some features in the trailer, such as the open world boss encounters, where you see dozens of players teaming up to take down a massive dragon. And from the website itself, it states that when it comes to confronting the massive Eltanius, one of the many powerful bosses within the game, be sure to come prepared for the ultimate test of strength that requires hundreds of players to unite. With the addition of real-time MMO content, Chrono Odyssey promises to deliver an unforgettable gaming experience. Now listen, this is not the first time we've seen world bosses. Dude, nothing's crazier than when Odin shows up in Final Fantasy XIV and the whole server is literally there trying to kill that guy. You can't even see what's happening. The frame drops, the server lag, but granted, those are only special scenarios in which things get crazy inside of Final Fantasy. For Chrono Odyssey here though, they are stepping in a world where a lot of MMORPGs already exist, especially the heavy hitters that already have embedded communities that have been around for years. Needless to say, it's going to be a difficult uphill battle for this game to pull players in. But many of you in our Discord are very excited about this game, and I am too, but I do need to see more. What are we looking at in terms of factions? Are we going to have player-owned housing? What is the end game? Do we have raids? Is the combat system going to be interactive, or is it just going to be point and click? Don't get me wrong, guys, it is a beautiful looking game, but man, we have seen a lot of good looking games come and go that couldn't stand the test of time. Now, our next game, this is another personal one for me: Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Guys, you want to be tripped out? Dude, just watch the trailer to this game, and hell, even play the first one. Developed by Ninja Theory, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 has been developed in Unreal Engine 5, and it's the sequel to the award-winning Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, which won both Best Audio Design and Best Performance back in the 2017 Game Awards. Now, a brief backstory. In the first game, you play as a Celtic warrior named Senua during the Viking Age who suffers from psychosis. The story kicks off with your character arriving at the border of Helheim, and throughout the entire game, you fight your way through hordes of otherworldly enemies to rescue the soul of your dead lover from the goddess Hela. Now, during the Xbox Developer Direct, Ninja Theory teased the plot for their newest title. Senua travels to Iceland to put down the Vikings who raided her village and enslaved her people back in Orkney. Now, as you know, guys, trippy stuff happens in this game. It draws you in, man. The immersion is intense. Now, gameplay-wise, the majority of it will be centered around melee combat. However, VFX director Mark Slater stated that Hellblade 2 will feature all new combat that does feel very different from the first game, and quote, is very brutal. Ninja Theory wants us to feel like we're essentially just scraping through when it comes to new combat. On top of that, there'll be a number of perception puzzles mixed in along the way that we'll have to clear to advance the game's story. Now, this is about a 6 to 8 hour experience, similar to the first game. But let me just say, guys, this is a blockbuster experience, and in my opinion, is worth that $50 price tag. However, Xbox Game Pass users rejoice, as you'll get this game day one through that subscription. Now, this is an exclusive to Microsoft, meaning only Xbox and PC players will be able to enjoy this game, which is such a shame, but definitely one I'm looking forward to. Up next, we've got Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. This game is being developed by Saber Interactive and has been built inside of Saber's proprietary engine. It's set to release on September the 9th of this year and will be available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC for a whopping $70. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Warhammer, these video games were actually built based off of the board game, with the first edition, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, which came out in 1987. Now, since then, all types of different video game spin-offs have been created, with one of the most popular ones being Warhammer 40k Space Marine back in 2011. Fellas, 2011 was a long time ago, and for my Warhammer fans out there, I know you gotta be excited about this. Now, in this sequel, you play from the perspective of Space Marine Captain Titus, and in Space Marine 2, you're tasked with fighting back the Tyranid forces who have invaded the Imperial worlds. Now, throughout the story, you will have squad mates with you, but the beautiful thing here is that Space Marine 2 actually allows for up to 3 people to play together. Overall, it looks good, guys. I'm excited to try it out. Many of you are excited about it, which is why we threw it on the list here. And considering how popular games like Helldivers 2 has been, I'm also getting like a Gears vibe from this. I'm looking forward to giving this a go. Next on our list, we have RPG Stellar Blade. Now, I know most of you are probably saying, Cross, there's only one reason you're putting this on the list. And let me just say, you should know me better by now. I would never throw a game that has graphically enhanced characters with amazing physics and tight tights. That's not me, man. And if it did play a role in my selection, it was a very small one. Now, this game was originally known as Project Eve back in 2021 when it was first shown at the PlayStation Showcase events. Since then, however, Korean studio Shift Up has rebranded their game to Stellar Blade, which is actually set to release pretty early on April the 26th. Not only that, but it also seems like the game was ported over from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, which is why you're seeing these visuals right here, baby. Now, this game will be, unfortunately, a PS5 exclusive, which sucks. You'd think after Helldivers 2 has been popping off for Sony, considering it launched on both PC and PlayStation, that they would drop this one for PC as well. Now, this game is a single-player game only. You'll be playing as Eve as she attempts to fight back the Nativa monsters that drove humanity off of Earth. You'll also have NPC companions, that being Adam and Lily, joining you on your playthrough as you take on different enemies and bosses that the game throws at you. Now, Stellar Blade revolves heavily around melee combat, but seems to be a little more in-depth than your traditional hack and slash games, or at least we hope. Now, stated that the game's length is supposed to be somewhere around 25 hours and 30 to 50 hours for 100% completion. So if single story games are your thing and you happen to have a PlayStation, then Stellar Blade might just be for you. Next on the list, we have Avowed. This is a first-person action-adventure game set to come out in fall of this year. Now, this is being created by Obsidian Entertainment, the studio behind Fallout New Vegas, and being developed inside of Unreal Engine 5. Now, the game was last shown at the Summer Games Fest 2023, and in that gameplay trailer, Obsidian showcased this sprawling fantasy open world and also its magic-based combat. The game setting actually takes place in the same universe of Pillars of Eternity, which was an Obsidian title that released back in 2015. However, in this new title, you'll be exploring a completely different part of Eora. In Avowed, you play as a powerful magic wielder who's been sent to the living lands by an emperor to investigate a plague that has been corrupting the people who live there. The locals, however, fear and distrust you due to your extremely uncommon magical abilities, which means along your journeys, you'll have to build trust with the locals, all while clearing corrupted enemies and uncovering that source of the plague. Now, in the gameplay trailer, we see us using swords, spells, as well as guns. Now, here's everything we know about the many weapons we'll be able to use. We have one-handed melee weapons, such as our swords or maces, as well as axes. You'll also have the ability to dual-wield weapons. And yes, your offhand, when using one-handed weapons, can be used to hold a shield or even to unleash spells. We also have two-handed melee weapons, that being great swords, a great mace, and a battle axe. And for our guns, all we've seen is our flintlock pistols. It's not yet known if Obsidian plans on adding more gun types to the game, though. Then we have wands. You can actually dual-wield wands here, guys, which doubles the speed at which your character can throw spells. That's 2 Avada Kedavras. And we also have bows. Now, you'll have 2 weapon loadouts available to you, allowing you to quick swap between long and close range combat styles when needed, and all weapons will be enchantable. Now, to top everything off, Obsidian will also include a companion system inside of Avowed. Now, not much has been disclosed on this, and again, companion systems systems really range, man. I've seen some terrible companion systems in which the companions literally run around and do next to nothing, and they glitch all over the place. Now, surprisingly enough, Obsidian was actually considering giving Avowed multiplayer capabilities, but decided to chalk that idea and focus on the things that they were best at. Fergus, Obsidian's studio head, stated, quote, "One of the things where I really pushed was that Avowed was going to be multiplayer, and I kept on that for a long time. And I think in the end, I know in the end, it was the wrong decision to keep pushing on it. Personally, I'm okay with that, guys. Again, I do love multiplayer games, but if single players are your thing, lean into that, keep that, make a world that we can get lost in for many, many hours, and the players will show up." Now, this game will be available on both Xbox and PC, and yes, it will also be a part of Xbox Game Pass. Now, the final game on this list, the one I'm incredibly excited for, and really the one that's going to be make or break for Xbox as a whole, is Fable 4. It has been a long time since we've gotten a Fable game. This is being developed by Playground Games, and get this, it's being built in the Forza Tech engine, the same engine used to create Forza Motorsport. Now, if you're worried, I completely get it. However, in PAX West 2022, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty reassured everyone, stating, "Let's be honest, giving Fable to the racing team could be a little bit of a head scratcher, but they have proven that they get it, and I'm excited for when the time comes to be able to show more." I don't know, guys. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for another Fable game, but that is a bold decision, and Fable is a known title for Xbox. To me, it's like up there with Halo. And yes, there's a lot of people vouching for this studio. Aaron Greenberg, the GM of Xbox Games Marketing, expressed his excitement, quote, "to put the Fable franchise and give it a completely fresh start in the hands of one of the greatest game developers in the world, and also right there in England with Playground Games, is sort of a dream come true." Now, we don't really have any other information about Fable 4. Back in 2020, it was rumored that it may actually end up being an MMO set in the world of Fable. Personally, I don't think it's going to veer too much off of what we've already seen in the previous Fable games. Now, there's also no confirmed release date for Fable 4, but there are a ton of people, the Fable community, Reddit threads, and others, that are convinced that it's going to be launching this year in October. Most notably, October 29th, on the anniversary of Fable 3. We'll see though, guys. I will say for Fable, Xbox, and Playground Games, this is a bold move. Curious to see how this plays out. Who knows? Maybe Playground Games will give us a Fable unlike any other Fable game we've experienced before. But we'll just have to wait and see, guys. Well, fellas, those are our most anticipated games for 2024. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If there's any games we missed, feel free to let us know as well. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.